I'm here with Xavier Brown. He's a strength and conditioning coach for the Oakland Rise. Xavier, this is your first year with the program. What exactly are you going to do in terms of making these girls a lot more efficient this season?
The biggest thing with any team is just to make sure that they're healthy long term. A lot of times, a lot of players want to jump high and run fast, but I always say availability is the best ability. So just making sure that they're making sure they're staying healthy, making sure that they know how to use their body correctly, make sure they know how to run. Just little things like that go and pay a big reward in the long run. So just making sure that they understand how to take care of their body through a long season.
How did you actually get involved with the Oakland Rise? You mentioned the fact that, you work with a couple of players, but who are those players and how did you get involved?
Yeah, so Samantha Campos, she was a big one. Started working with her as soon as I moved out here a couple months ago, which word kind of spread. Sam was working with someone, and then Andy on the team, Nelly, a couple of those players just kind of started working with me, and then word got around to Marcus, and he brought me in for an interview, kind of like a tryout. He gave me 15 minutes. Those 15 minutes, I guess, I did something that he liked, and then he brought me on for the season.
Let's talk about your background. How long you been in the business, and exactly where are you from?
Yeah, so I've been a strength coach going on like 5 years now. I actually came from Florida, right? So I'm from Orlando, Florida. I actually worked at the University of South Florida, Division I school out there as an intern. I worked with men and women's basketball out there, men and women's golf. After that, I was working at the high school sector, worked with a Cocoa Beach High School in Florida with the boys and girls basketball teams out there. And then most recently, I was in Cleveland, Ohio. I was working with a couple schools out there. I worked with Lake Erie College, a Division II school out there, and I worked with over 500 athletes. So it was pretty much me, one other person, programming for a bunch of athletes, and then training them in same capacity, and then made my way out here. So it's been a lot going on these past couple of years, but it's been a great journey so far.
Day one in the actual tryouts, and I've already seen you already at work stretching some kids out already. What would you recommend at this point? You have a lot of ladies, females coming out for the first time, haven't played in quite some time. What would you recommend for them to do in the future if they wanted to come out and try out for a program such as this?
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't expect to be, obviously coming out here and doing some stuff, but yeah, the biggest thing is just to make sure, they're prepared, making sure that they're taking care of their body. Little things like sleeping, recovering in between, the stresses of life. Because when we're on the court, we're stressing them out. When I'm in the weight room, I'm stressing them out. So recovery is a big part of what I do. So making sure that they're doing little things, whether it's taking walks or talking to people that they enjoy talking to, that can actually aid a lot in the long run. And then making sure that they're just being active. Coming out here is very intense, as you kind of saw already. It's a lot of up and downs, very quick pace. Sometimes players will come out here for the first time and they don't know the intensity. So just making sure that they're active in their downtime. Playing basketball is the number one thing. But also, like, if they do have access to a trainer or someone similar as me, making sure that they're getting in contact with them and kind of helping them prepare their body. Because once the season starts, it's going to be a long season full of games, practices. So just making sure that they're ready for that is going to pay a lot in the long run.
Final question for you. I've seen you going through the dynamic workout with the young ladies. How important is that coming out in a day like this?
It's very important. So the big thing with that is, making sure that they're warm, obviously, making sure they're getting a lot of blood flow. Because when they come out, a lot of times injury happens when, there's stillness and then there's sudden movement, right? So if I'm right here and I just go to run, and I'm not warm, my muscles aren't warmed up, there's no blood flow, that's when injury happens. So just making sure that they were kind of building from like something very simple to something a little bit more dynamic, and then getting the brain involved, making sure that the brain is sending the signals as quickly as possible to the muscles, because everything upstairs controls everything downstairs. So something as simple as like a 10 to 15 minute dynamic warm-up pays a lot in terms of dividends. Is making sure that they're ready to go for their actual practice. So even though it's something very small, I'm glad Marcus sees the value in it, and just give me the opportunity to come out here and make sure they're prepared.
My name is Joaquin Wallace, Xavier Brown, strength and conditioning coach for Oakland Rise. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.